Hey everybody, DeathsStalker here. So this is my wrap-up video on the various parts that were put on my bike for the brake upgrade and what they cost. And I'm also going to be doing another section at the end of this video on how much weight was saved on the bike by upgrading the Brembos. So the rotors are actually Supersport front brakes. They're 320 millimeter. They're intended for a Honda CBR1000RR 2006-2007 model. That matches the bolt pattern and the various offsets that are actually used in the RC51. If you were to actually use an earlier CBR1000 brake rotor, they were 310 millimeter diameter, so they're actually a smaller rotor. So the 2006-2007 are the correct size. Now, the cost for me for these rotors was $603.29. And I believe all the prices are actually in US funds. So I'm not going to bother with exchange rates because when I bought these, Canadian dollar wasn't in the tank like it is right now. Some people might be interested to know why I wasn't using the new rotors, which are T-locks. They're replacing these ring washers that have circlips on them with like a T-lock. They were using those right now in World Superbike. And the main reason was the minimum price was $200 more to go to the T-locks. And in case you're not aware, I'm actually retired, so I am trying to do this to a budget. Now the Brembo M4 100 millimeter monoblock calipers, which came with brake pads, cost $560. Now, I would love to put the GP4 RXs, which are like a premium performance brake caliper, but they were $1,465, so I kind of had to pass on them. But the nice thing about it is that because I have these calipers with the mount, so if I ever decided down the road to replace these with a higher performance Brembo caliper, I already have everything else I need. It's just a matter of buying them and then installing them. Okay, now the radial caliper adapter bracket is what it's called, which is this item right here. I purchased that on eBay and it cost me $160. The prices I've seen for these things on eBay, and there's a couple websites that actually sell them as well now that I've discovered, the prices go anywhere from about $130 to $200. Now the hardware on my bike, these are actually titanium bolts. I bought them just because. And the M10 titanium taper cones, which are on the calipers, 4 of those cost me $30.74, and the M10 hex head that were pre-drilled for safety wire, 4 of those cost me $29.29, and they're light as a feather. No question you could use steel. I just decided to go for titanium just because. So now I'm going to move up to the master cylinder and we're going to talk about that. Okay, the Brembo RCS19 adjustable brake master cylinder and bracket kit cost me $296. Now the Corsa Costa version, which is actually a very similar system, it's just got a few more adjustments that make more sense for someone who would ride track than on the street. This unit itself cost $200 more, and that did not include the brake reservoir. That's a kit that was sold separately, and it runs as little as $50 and averaging, you know, in the low 60s for prices on eBay. And again, because this particular RC51 is strictly a street bike for me, I didn't feel like I needed to go for the higher priced master cylinder. Now, if you remember the video where I did the elbow kit installation, that nipple replacement with the oil seal actually cost $12.99, and that was ordered from Bevel Heaven, and I will actually put a link for their website in the description for the channel, along with a direct link to where the actual part is. You can find it, but it takes a little bit of rooting around to find it, and you have to scroll through a couple pages. It's not something you can find very quickly, so I'm just going to put a link in for it. So that's all the parts and what they cost me. Basically, the total price for everything, $1,708.51. And again, that is US money, not Canadian. It did not include any shipping or duty or taxes that you had to pay. Any of the Brembo parts that I ordered from eBay all came from Omnia Racing, which is an Italian licensed Brembo reseller, and they're located in Italy. I could have purchased stuff from pretty well anywhere, but I noticed that the prices actually coming from Italy were, $50 to $100 less than if I ordered from the UK or the United States, or even Canada for that matter. So it actually made more sense. Also, Omnia was really good. You got great communication, an email saying they got your order's been shipped, and then right away you got your DHL tracking number. So I basically knew where the package was all the way along the route. As far as the comfort of buying off them, it was awesome. And actually the rotors were ordered just as the lockdown happened in Italy. And I got an email about a day or two later saying it's probably going to be delayed for 20 days because they're under lockdown and they won't be able to have any people at their stores and whatnot. And I don't know what happened, but about 10, 11 days into it, I got an email saying my parts were being shipped. So I don't know if someone snuck in or maybe someone had to go to the office, so they thought they'd take care of it. But I was thrilled because they actually showed up, a good 15 days sooner than I actually expected them to. So nothing but props to those guys. And the same thing goes for Bevel Heaven. I ordered the elbow, and again, the people in California, they're under lockdown. And the person whoever does the sales contacted me and said they didn't know when they were going to be able to get it out. It took about 2 weeks for it to show up. Courier services actually seems to be pretty good. It's when anything touches the mail service, like either the US mail or Canadian mail services, where things are really horrible. It's a good thing I decided to order the banjo bolts for my M4s from Bezel at the same time, because the other ones I had ordered from Amazon still haven't showed up. They're still, as far as I know, waiting at the shipping center in someplace in the US to be mailed to Canada. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the weight savings. When I took the EBC rotor off the bike and put it on the scale, it came in at 1.5 pounds. I then took the new Brembo and put it on the scale, and it weighed 1.5 pounds. So I pulled my original rotor out of its storage box and dropped that on the scale, and it weighed 1.5 pounds. So I thought, no, I'm not going to be saving any weight. So the next thing was I dropped the master cylinder on, and the old master cylinder weighed 0.4 of a pound. The new master cylinder, complete with the reservoir, also weighed 0.4 of a pound. So the next thing I thought I'd try was the caliper brackets. I figured the new caliper bracket, just because of its a larger size, would weigh more than the original Honda factory bracket, and they both came in at 0.4 of a pound. So the last thing to weigh, of course, was the brake caliper. So when I picked up the Brembo calipers, I thought, boy, these things are pretty hefty. And I put that on the scale and it weighed 1 pound. And then I went and grabbed the Nissan caliper. And if you look at the Nissans, they are actually smaller than the Brembo. So I figured they'd probably, at the worst, would weigh the same, maybe weigh a little bit less. And they came in at a whopping 2.2 pounds. I swear they must be made of lead. So as far as difference in weight, the original setup weighed 7.1 pounds, and the new Brembo system came in at 4.7. So that was a bit of a savings that only cost $1,700. So don't try to use that as an excuse to buy the better brakes. So there you go. That's what everything cost and how much everything weighs. And again, once I've actually ridden it for a little while and gotten comfortable with the brakes and figured out exactly how I prefer to be set up, I will be doing a video on that. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them if I know the answer for them. I am not an expert, though I do play one on the internet. DeathsStalker signing out.